Hi everyone, welcome to our webinar. Hi to Mackay Tourism. My name's Judy, I'm from Shift, and what we're going to go through today is basically some really quick pointers and tips and strategies about what we could all be doing right now in these unprecedented times. So quickly, first up, thank you to everyone who filled in the online survey or the pulse check. For some of you, it might have been the first time that you've had a chance to look at your business from an external perspective. And for some of us, it's maybe just a good time to sit back and have a look at that and think about what we could be doing differently. Because like I said, these are unprecedented times. What can we now do to get ready to hit the reset button again? Okay, so a little bit about myself. As I said, my name's Judy. I've got a long history in small to medium-sized businesses. Have been in business for myself since the 1990s. I've got a background in multiple industries, fintech, tourism, hospitality, the good old black and white print media, loads of different things, and own businesses in a lot of them. One of the businesses did extremely well and it grew very quickly. So why I'm part of Shift now is we grew from 50 employees to nearly 250 employees within 6 months. So as you can imagine, that was a massive growth period. And we wobbled. It was very successful, but there were problems, of course. Had we built the foundation and the structure that our business could sustain? Probably not. So I stepped out of that business. I went and did a diploma in psychology and organisational behaviour. And had a look at what we did and what we did well and what we didn't do well. So I was basically pulling apart our teams and our processes and our systems and thinking, how could we have done them better? Back then I was naive enough to think that the teams that thrived were because they had direct contact with us, which it was a little bit, and the teams that were quite toxic, what were we doing wrong? No, I naively thought it was we just didn't get enough contact with them. But I went and found out there was quite a system of processes that we could have applied that would have looked after our people a lot better, would have motivated them, would have made them a lot more productive and happier as well. So after I did that, I went and did the MBTI, which is learning about personality types, which I think is fundamental for any business. If you have a profound understanding of personality types, you can really fast track the results from your people. And you can really understand what motivates them and what drives their behaviour. So it's really, really important. So get online and Google some basic things about introverts and extroverts. I'll probably talk about those a little bit throughout this event. So I did my MBTI practitioner's course, and then I went on to become an accredited strengths coach. And what this is, it's based in positive psychology. And instead of looking at what we're fundamentally very bad at or where our weaknesses are, it measures what we're good at, and it helps us to leverage that as well. So what I do now with Shift is executive coach, mentor. We also do business consultancy, coaching, loads of different things. But what we're all about is fast tracking your businesses. How can we get the best out of our business with minimal outlay? You know, we're all cash strapped right now. So I suppose what this whole session is about today is what can we do very cheaply to create better results at the end when we all hit that reset button. So for most of us, in tourism especially, we live in very reactive businesses. You know, we might get a massive influx of bookings at some stage and then we've got none. And due to the nature of this, we struggle to find the time to work on our own businesses. So because of this, what we'd like to do now is, if we've got time up our sleeve, why don't we use that now to find out what we can do to build a better business out the other end. So today's all about getting to hit the reset button, consolidate, rebuild our foundations in our framework and refocus. It's having that time to breathe and go, right, is this where we should be? Does the business look like what it was meant to look like? Have we got the right people in it? All of these things are fundamental to the success of our business and also to our level of enjoyment within the business. If we're not enjoying it, it's awful to be a part of. You know, we wake up each morning and feel like we're going to a shit show every day. So let's just think about, what does our business look like now? What was our target market? Is it still the same? So we're going to go through some really simple things today. We've got 6 different things we're going to look at. And one of the things that we are going to do is also offer up any free suggestions we've got about software that we've found over the years as well. And I encourage anyone, if you can open up your Q&A button on the sidebar there, if you can make any suggestions throughout this webinar of software that you've used that's free, it's a really great thing to share amongst your peers, because being able to automate with free software just makes things so much simpler, especially if we can integrate them. So we're going to look at automating parts of your business, manuals that you might still have to create, manuals that might be in process that you need to get back to, upgrading glitchy, outdated systems, and haven't we all got them? Absolutely, especially if we're in a reactive business that we don't have time to go back and build those foundations. We're going to talk about auditing your processes, which you kind of did when you started that survey that we sent out earlier, and then rechecking your vision, your purpose, and your passion. Now, that might sound a little bit touchy-feely, but this is what drives us. This is what's going to motivate us, and this is what we pass on to the people that are going to work with us. So if we don't have a vision, if we don't have a purpose, all we're doing is getting up each day, then why do it? And this is what's going to drive our people. So it's really, really fundamental. And then lastly, who is your tribe? Who do you want to attract in your business? Who would you like to come and work with you? It's thinking about succession planning. It's being able to step back out of your business and know that the people that you have in your business are going to look after it as well as what you would of yourself. For some of us, that isn't even really possible. You know, for the small family businesses, it's down to basically it's the mum and dad, and we might be able to get one or two other people. But those two other people are really critical to our success. Okay, so let's move on to automation. I'm going to make this as quick as possible. I know you're all time poor. So the reason we're doing this is, and I suppose what the impetus for this was the Jobkeeper. I've had a lot of people contacting us and a lot of our clients saying, you know, with the Jobkeeper, it's going to de-incentivise a lot of my team. I've got someone on casual who's going to get $750 for 4 hours, and then I've got full-time workers who are going to get just as much money. So how do I make this work for me? How do you make it work for you? If they've got spare hours, get them to start looking into these processes. You're already paying for it through the Jobkeeper, so that you've got hours up your sleeve now with these people that you can use. So with automate the easiest processes first, okay? Look at some really simple things. If you can get a 5-minute quick fix, happy days. Everyone starts to feel that the effort that they're putting into it is going to work. Then we need to build a culture that embraces the automation, okay? Make sure people aren't scared of automation. It doesn't mean that people are going to lose their jobs. What it means is we're trying to reduce the amount of hours that we can create human error. So it's about, if we can automate as many things as possible, finger faults on keyboards and human error because we weren't thinking at the time, that starts to minimise a lot. So get everyone to embrace looking for how we can do things quicker, easier and automatically. Start small, focus on one small business function at a time. So a really cool thing to do is to get your team together and go, you know what's really irritated us lately? You know, what's really pissed us off? What do we not like doing? How's some way that we can make that easier and a more successful way to do it? So then you need to build a history. How did it work? How is it going to work? How many hours have we put into this? If we're going to automate something, we need to know that out the other end it was well worth it. So start to build a little bit of history about why you've done this and how much it's cost you today. And the cost will be in hours. So at the moment, it may not be too costly. Learn from the leaders. Look at someone else is doing something very similar to you and see what they're doing. Okay, it's all right to plagiarise. If these guys are getting success from using that software, look at what it is, find out how it's working for them. Build up a peer network where you can start to ask each other, what are you doing and how does it work for you? Then look also for software that you can integrate. You know, you might have a CRM, and I don't know if everyone's working with a CRM, but a customer relationship manager where you can track your clients, the lead prospect. You can build up a database and a history about how many times you've contacted, what they've purchased from you in the past, and will this then link into your account software? If it does, you can start generating leads straight into an invoice. Again, you're minimising the human error, which is awesome. Okay, a thing that I like to do when we've got a few hours spare, I've got to say I don't really like to do it, but I have to do it, is train myself in shortcuts. So if I've got time to hit old Dr. Google and find out how I can do things quicker, you know, through the keys on my keyboard, then I'll try and give that a go. Basically, repetition means we're going to start remembering it. So learning those shortcuts is always beneficial, as long as we can keep up to date and remember what we have learnt, and then pass it on to everyone. So start building a spreadsheet of what you have learnt that everyone can access as well. Okay, We're going to move on to manuals, updating your manuals. I've got to say, no one looks forward to this. It is a boring process. And so I'm going to start talking about personality type here. There may be some kind of personalities in your team that love doing this stuff. They're driven by processes. They love procedure. They love following the bouncing ball. That's the kind of person that you want working on your manuals, because that's what's driving them and they really like it. So what kind of manuals do you need? Now, you should all know the manuals that you need: an operations manual. We've written down the policies and procedures that you need for the basis of it: workplace health and safety manual, equal opportunity policy, employee code of conduct, leave of absence, the disciplinary action policy, social media, it's a big one right now, and of course, drug and alcohol policy. So they're your main ones. Now, according to what business you have and what industry you're in, you'll need to bolt on some others around that. So if you don't have those, you can get those online. There's templates everywhere. One thing that we looked at doing, of course, was a HR software package. So there's some really basic HR software packages that are awesome. You can get them really cheap as well if you want to do that, and they can house all your policies and procedures. They also drive all your HR processes through to letters of employment, leave of absence forms, holiday, and then it can link through into your accounting software as well. So have a look at some of those HR platforms. You might find that they're extremely affordable and it's going to save you a lot of time. And when we look at the cost of our hours up against the cost of the software, sometimes you find it's a no-brainer just to go ahead and do that. Okay, a lot of our clients, we step into their business and one of the first things they'll say is, you know, it's a mess. We can't find anything here. You go online, we don't know if this is the latest version of it. It's really important to have some kind of document control, to have time to all code things the same way, file them the same way, know where they're meant to go, clean it up, get rid of the outdated stuff, and just make it brand spanking new and create a whole new system. Really doesn't take long. What it takes is everyone agreeing on what the end outcome is going to be. So that might take an hour in itself of just getting yourselves all together, getting feedback for what works for everyone, and then really just brainstorming what's it going to look like. Okay, big stuff. Business plan, budget, marketing plan, all extremely important. They're big ticket items. They're also the things that you should be retweaking every year. You should be keeping these up to date. They should always be a work in progress, because then they're relevant and they're valid and they're attainable and it keeps you pushing forward. So go back and have a look at those. If you don't have a business plan in place, it really, how do you know where you're headed? So jump online, download a template. There's plenty of those as well. I think on our website we have quite a few templates that we're going to be putting up for free as well. So we'll talk about those at the end. We already talked about the policies. Again, if you don't know much about those, head to a HR recruitment software package. Now we're going to look at upgrading your outdated systems. So outdated systems, how do we know if they're outdated? Really, this again is about getting yourselves together and going, what is working, what is not working, what haven't we looked at for a very long time? One thing that a lot of people now can have time to do is, how are you going to go paperless? If you already aren't paperless, you should be. It's really easy now. Everything's so automated, it's so easy to do. So basically, there's a really simple way to do that. We're going to provide you an audit at the end of this. Now, this is a really extensive audit. It's about 6 or 7 pages. I've got one here. It's so extensive that it can make your eyes bug out of your head. We're going to have that up on the back of our website and we'll give you the link to that later on. The reason why I really like this is it makes you think about things that you've never thought of before. So I do like these extensive ones because it starts to get our creative juices flowing. We start to think about things that we could be doing or things that we haven't looked at for a very long time. So have a look at that audit. Start to work out what you can be working on and things that you can fix really simply. And then get your team to cross audit the departments. So if someone works in admin the whole time, get someone from outside of admin to come in and audit it with brand new, fresh eyes. This way you're going to get a really non-biased look at your business. When we work in the same department the whole time, we get really emotionally connected with it. And so there's a lot of things that I probably wouldn't see in my department, which is people, because I work there the whole time and I'm extremely passionate about it. But if I brought someone else in from another department, such as finance, they would look at it very differently. So it's really, really important, get people to start cross-auditing each department. Okay, look for long-time irritations, get feedback, cross-audit. I can't stress that enough. It's really, really good. And you may not even know what the long-time irritations are. So getting feedback from everyone else, even if it's just you, your husband, your wife, get feedback from each other. You all have different strengths. Again, I'm going to go back to personality type. What your strengths are will be very different to your partner's. So get that feedback and try to be very open about that feedback and try not to get too emotional with the feedback that you're about to get. Okay, learning for free. Now, you've probably seen online, everybody's throwing content up online. We're getting overwhelmed with what we can learn, what we can do. Try and file down on and drill down onto the ones that are reputable and the ones that you like, and also that put content out in a manner that resonates with you. One thing that I can't stress highly enough has really helped us is a website called Udemy. We've got it there under point number 3, UDEMY. It is an awesome website for very cool things to learn, and most of them are around $10 or $14 for a whole course. Now, you could buy a course that is up to 60 hours worth of free marketing material, and you're paying $14. It's an amazing website. So head to that. All you have to do is type in what you want to learn and see how many different courses come up. It's very, very cool. Okay, as we mentioned before, auditing your processes. Use that very long audit sheet. It is a cracker. Cross-audit your departments, cross-audit your products, and also cross-audit your processes. Like I said, use each other from different departments. If there's only 2 of you in your business, bring someone else in. You know, have wine and cheese and bring them in and say, hey, what do you think of what we're doing right here? Can you just follow this task sheet here, tick and flick sheet, tell us what you think. You might be really interested in the feedback there as well. Okay, also need to identify bottlenecks. Where are the bottlenecks? Why are they happening? When? How frequently does it happen? And how many does it affect? So if it's affecting the whole business, you need to find out what's happening and why it's happening. And for this, you need to get feedback from as many people as possible. Sorry, I'm just looking at the questions here on the side. It would be great if you have a couple of suggestions for the group for the HR software. Yes, we do. So we've worked with quite a few. The ones that we seem to like so far, there's one called Happy HR that does the whole recruitment and onboarding stage, and it holds all your policies and procedures. There's also IntelliHR, INTELLIHR. I'm going to get Alita, my business partner, to type these into the sidebar now under the Q&A. We've also used Employment Hero, which is another really good one that we're quite impressed with. So she's going to pop those up on the chat bar for you. Yep, another question. What's the other question? Yes, you can. Sorry, someone's posted, should we do a risk assessment prior to the business plan? You can do that, and you can also do another one after. I love doing SWOTs. SWOTs are my thing. Strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. You can also do a business continuity plan, is a great way of doing a risk assessment over your whole business. I'm just talking to a leader now. We're probably going to put a link for the business continuity plan template up on the website as well, because that's a cracker. Okay, we'll move along on to the next one. So after auditing your processes, really, really important, this one, think about it from the customer's perspective. Okay, customers are going to come back eventually. And what we need to look at is, are we customer centric, which means do our processes, our systems, our procedures, do they resonate with the customer? Do they work for them? Or have we designed them really just to work for us? Because if we have, it's a little bit selfish. They probably may not be liking that it's easy enough for them. So we've got a whole slide there. Basically really simple stuff. Do our behaviours, our equipment, our facilities inspire confidence? Are we known for delivering what we promise? It's a good way to audit your processes through the eyes of a customer. Now, if you can't do that without a bit of bias, which is really hard for all of us, we love our businesses, give it to some of your customers, some of your long-term customers. Just give them a little quick flick sheet like that. Just get them to tick the boxes and get their input as to what it looks like from a customer's perspective, because that might be interesting in itself as well. Once, if we have time to do this, might as well bite the bullet and do it now. Okay, so we are going to have a recording of this webinar after this, so grab a copy of that slide on the recording and use that for your customers. I'm going to move on to rechecking your vision, your purpose and your passion. Like I said, your vision, your purpose and your passion, this is why we do what we do. If we can't pass this on to our team, if we can't pass it on to our customers, then we're really not connecting and engaging with our team or our customers. So have a look at what your vision was. And if you've never created a vision, it's time to do one. Why is it that you do what you do? One thing I would strongly recommend is one of my mentors, or who I follow a lot, is Simon Sinek, S-I-N-E-K. He has one of the top 10 TED Talks of all time. So just Google TED Talks Simon Sinek and look for his top 10 TED Talk. I can't remember the name of it now, but it's all about finding your why. And it goes through, it's an 18-minute video, and it tells you about if we lead with our why and we connect with more people through that, we're going to increase the loyalty of our product rather than just telling them what we do. So people believe in our passion, and that's how we motivate people as well. At Shift, we do a lot on motivation. So we're all about what drives behaviour, how can we get people more productive, more effective, more efficient. And the vision is a really base foundation of that. So have a think about what your vision is. Have a think about what your purpose is. Very similar, but a vision is more of a statement that you have that everyone can see. But why is it that you do what you do? And passion. If we're not passionate about what we do, it's going to be very hard to motivate anyone in your team. So you've got to find that re-belief in what you're doing, whether it's just we do this to provide an awesome experience for people, whether it's just accommodation so that they feel like they're at home when they're at our accommodation. Find what your purpose and your passion is and pass it on to everyone. This is going to be your point of difference because people are going to connect with that. And if people resonate with it, they're going to hand over more money. We hand over more money to people that we like than people that we don't like. Okay, so vision, passion and purpose. Go back to it, have a look and see if it's valid. So lastly, and probably most importantly, what I think is, who is your tribe? Really, really important to look at who are the people that we have in our business. Who are the people that we use? We may have consultants, we may have specialists, we might have contractors. Are they the right ones for our brand and what we believe in? So many things to think about. So the first point there, what is enough for you in your business? Did you have too many people in your business because you were just trying to support too many people because you like them all? It may be time that you really have to scale back. Okay, what's important and what's the balance? How many casuals? How many full-time? Do you have anyone who can multitask really well? Is it time to multitask? Is it time to get them highly engaged? You know, I have a lot of people say to me, oh, I have real difficulty in delegating. And I go, why on earth would you have difficulty in delegating? It's one of the most empowering things we can do to our team. If we're there doing all the crappy jobs and doing the most work ourselves, what we're saying to the rest of our team is, I don't trust you to do anything. I'll just do it myself. So if you look at from your staff's angle and they're watching you do everything, it's very disempowering for them. And it just creates that culture of, well, I can sit back and do nothing, basically. So we want to get them engaged again. So delegating things that you know that they're interested in. You might have lots of stuff that you do because you enjoy it, or you know you're good at it, or you're quicker than everyone else. Start passing these things on. Especially being quicker than everyone else doesn't mean you should be hanging on to it, especially if it's going to start re-energizing someone else and making them interested in learning a new task. So have a think about what you can delegate, who you can delegate to. It might even be kids at home right now who are a little bit bored. Would they like to start playing with the social media side of it? Lots of different things that you can think of. So we also need to look at the exit strategy. You know, how are you going to step away from the business? The succession planning of it. Who can you get to step up so that you can step out? So if you have got people that you're looking at, who do you invest in? Are they worth it? How do you know that they're going to hang around? These are the conversations that you really need to have. They've got to be really transparent conversations. You know, we think that you're the next person in line for this. We'd like to step back. But to do so is going to cost quite a bit of money in upskilling and training. You can put in your contracts, you know, the amount that you spend on training comes with a clause. If they leave within 2 years, that they'll pay you back for all the training that you're doing. There's loads of different things that you can do, but it's about identifying who are your key people. Who do you want to invest in? Because when we start investing time and money in people, we really want it reciprocated. And you see that quite often it is, because when we start to trust those people and say, I can see these things in you, I can see these values and what your capabilities are, then it starts to become reciprocated. Okay, when we're looking at your tribe, we also need to look at the team around you. Who do you use for legal, financial? Who helps you with your strategy? Who helps you with your agility? Who helps you to think outside the box? So many different things. So I really want you to think about, who do I have around me? Are they the right people? You know, point number 7 says use referrals. Start to ask around, who else does everyone use that works really well for them? Who else could I be going and interviewing to see whether they're the right person for me? A new accountant, a new legal team. There's loads of organisations now that are doing online subscriptions to help out with accounting, HR, all different things. So just start asking around. The inside, we've got our contact details. If you need more information about people that are providing that, please just email us anytime. Okay, number 8, upskilling cheaply. Like I said, one of the sites that we use is Udemy. We also use Coursera. Have a look around, just start Googling. There's loads of universities that are giving really cheap prices on their courses as well. So just have a look at what's out there. And then lastly, what are the skills that your business needs? So you might have been heading along doing the same thing every day, knowing that there's things that you aren't able to do in your business, but you haven't had time to outsource it. Is it time now to look at the people you've got in there? What else can they do? What else can we train them to do? What are we missing? Are we missing marketing? Are we missing someone who does a very thorough bookkeeping? What else can we get and bring into our team? Okay, so then moving on. So the last slide basically just gives you all our contact details. And what I do want to say is, coming up shortly, as with every crisis that we've gone through, the government is bound to send out government grants and funding. They'll be for consultants, coaches, they'll be for loads of different things. Keep your eyes open, your ears open. Share with your peer network when you start to hear of them coming on board, and jump in and use them. So if you're going to use consultants or you're going to use coaches, tell them exactly what it is you want. Don't get led astray or go down a tangent that isn't going to impact your business in a positive way. There's loads of different things that you can do, and maybe you don't have enough time to implement things. So maybe you need a consultant who is going to implement that for you. Okay, so just wanted to do a little bit of also health and wellbeing. Make sure that you are checking in on your team at the moment. If they're all home-based, please make sure that you're checking in every day. Everyone is starting to feel really isolated, and everyone's starting to get really jack of it. So when we look at personality types, extroverts, of course, they're hanging out for their peeps, okay? The true definition of extroversion, of course, is where do we get our energy from? And extroverts get their energy from other people. So being stuck at home in front of a computer screen all day is not really working for them. So they need engagement. So get in front of them. If you're doing virtual online meetings, that's awesome. Do virtual online coffee stops, stop for lunch, doing a virtual online lunch. Also for introverts, they're loving being at home at the moment, but they're also not loving the fact that they're on demand. They can't really hide. So because they're at home, we can access them anytime. And where do introverts get their energy from? From being internal, reflecting, having time by themselves. So it's about getting that happy medium between the extroverts and introverts as well. But we can't stress enough, make sure you check in on them frequently. A saying that we have going at Shift is, We are in this storm together, but we're definitely not in the same boat together. We're all in different boats. So as much as we're navigating the same storm, everyone's sitting in a different boat. So please be aware everyone's circumstances are very different. Allow your team time to share what their problems are. Now is about the time that we're finally allowing humancy within the workplace. What we used to do predominantly was say, park your shit at the door. If you've got any problems at home, park them at the door, come in and just work. We can't do that anymore. People that are coming through the door now are bringing the problems of their friends, their families, their own stresses. So we need to allow them time to have a chat about these. As soon as we chat about these things is when we can start to move forward. So do take care of your team. Okay, that is it from us, isn't it, Alita?
Yep.
Yes?
Just published to see if there's any more questions.
Okay, I don't think there's any more questions. Just have a look at that last slide. Head to our website. We're going to start loading up all the free templates for you. If you have any problems with that, please email me, judy@shift.com.au, and we will send those directly to you because they're a really good few tools to have. And thank you very much for your time. Thank you for listening and enjoy the rest of your week.